Mansfield and Mates, hi, and you're welcome to it on this Saturday. Firstly, let me introduce the mate today, who's Craig James. Now, Craig is the, as you see there, the manager at Inanda Polo. Firstly, Craig, congratulations on making the South African team for the last test against England, which I believe you just won by 1-0.
Thanks for having us on the show this morning. Great to be here, and yeah, what a wonderful experience. Playing against England and for your country was great, and you're quite right. We made quite hard work of it to narrowly win in the end.
Tell us a little bit about polo as a sport and also its origins.
Jeremy, you know, polo has always been perceived as an English sport, but its origins reach far back into Persia, where it was actually called Polo. And the only reason that polo has traveled through the globe is because the English took it, and to every place that they colonized, they actually used polo to entertain their captains and keep them fit.
So it was a fitness and training module that was used by the British Army.
Yeah. So they used it very much to keep the guys entertained. They traveled with their horses all over the show. I mean, it's how polo has reached far up into the darkest continents of Africa.
How does South African polo compete with the rest of the world?
Well, I think we're competing quite well if you look at our recent track record, where we've just beaten England on the home turf. I think on a global scale, if you look at polo and how South Africa competes, polo is a very small community. It's always been quite an inaccessible sport because of the costs involved. You need a whole lot of horses to play the sport, and for that, it costs a little bit of money. There are about 560 active polo players in South Africa. And, you know, if you look at how big South Africa is and how we range, it's quite hard to get practices together. If we measure that against the world, we're probably on par with Australia, New Zealand, and England.
Okay. So you're sort of on par with the rugby teams as well.
Yeah. I think it'd be fair to say that.
Now, you've got an upcoming test match between South Africa and Argentina. That is when?
So this match, this is quite a highlight on our calendar. It's on the 7th of May at the Inanda Club here in Sandton.
Right.
And a really special event, because the level of polo that you would generally see throughout the world, polo is measured in handicap. And if I speak about a 20-goal match, this will be the combined handicaps of the 4 players playing against a different country. We're going to be seeing a spectacle of 23-goal polo at the Aon International in association with Bravo Brands. And yeah, it's going to be on the 7th of May. Weather permitting and sunny skies, it's going to be something to see.
Now, you say that you need a fair amount of horses and it costs a fair amount of money. Where do you, let's start with the horses first. Where do you find the horses? Where do you get the horses?
So in South Africa, predominantly our horses are ex-race horses. They're thoroughbreds from the racetrack. Because we're relatively small in comparison to the rest of other polo places, I mean Argentina being the biggest, where they breed all their polo ponies, we would go to the racetrack. And horses that are not running, you know, anymore, they're 2, 3 years old, 4 years old, we would go and buy them off the racetrack. It'll take us a good 3 or 4 years to take these horses and convert them into polo ponies that could compete at this level.
Okay. You mentioned earlier, you mentioned some sponsors. Tell us about the lead sponsors here.
So our title sponsor is Aon. They're an insurance broker. They've been with us for a couple of years. They've been fantastic to the sport. They're doing an amazing job in bringing some young black development players through the system and supporting them financially. As a prelude to the main match on the 7th of May, we've actually got a curtain raiser match, which is made up of 8 young black development players. And out of this, 4 of them will be selected to then go on and play in another very high-profile event in June, the Africa Cup. So that's our one sponsor, and we're very grateful to their participation. The next sponsor, they're new to the crowd and to polo, is Bravo Brands. Now, if you've ever sat on something comfortable, laid, had a bit of a lie back in your lazy boy, these are the guys that actually manufacture and produce these wonderful products.
Okay. I was going to get to development, because this being such a pricey sport, it must be very difficult to A, access the people that you need, and B, then train them, because as you say, it takes years and years to go through this training, not just for the horse, but for the rider as well.
Absolutely, it takes a long time, Polo has been given the similarity to golf in an earthquake. I think it was actually Sylvester Stallone that said that once. It was his quote. And it's quite right, playing polo on the back of a horse, you're concentrating on a little ball, you're a good 2.5 meters up in the air, wielding a 52 or a 53-inch mallet. There's a lot of things that can go wrong. It's also a contact sport, So while you're concentrating and trying to keep your head quiet on and over the ball, like you would in a golf swing, you got someone there bashing into you, Again, also, and you're traveling at sort of 50, 55 kilometers an hour. So it takes a long time to hone all those skills. The main skill that people take time to sort of get is the combination of the riding and hitting the ball. It takes years to develop balance, the right seat, horsemanship being the key. So it takes a long time.
So the next test against Argentina on 7 May, if people are wanting to get tickets to that, how do they go about that?
So right now we are live on Howler, so howler.co.za, and the tickets are selling out fast. I think our VIP section on the West Bank is already gone. So if people are keen to come and have a look and watch this spectacle of polo, you're going to go and have a look at the Howler site, and you're going to book online. A very simple process there. Book yourself a picnic spot. And set yourself up with a bunch of mates. It's a great day out. Yeah. We've had the Nedbank now recently. That's come and gone. We're now going to watch a much higher level of polo. And people must go and book on the Howler site as quickly as they can. Make sure they don't miss out.
Brilliant. Craig James, thank you very much for joining us on Mansfield today.
Thanks for having us, Jeremy.
That's it for today. Tomorrow, I haven't got a clue what's happening, actually. I'm not the boss of this place. The boss of this place is a little blonde, green-fingered fairy by the name of Melanie Walker. She makes us all fall together. I just follow instructions. I do what I do at home and say, yes, dear. Okay? It's that simple. That's it from Mansfield today. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, remember to hit the subscribe button. Nice to have had you with us. Cheers.